Hello, my Teaserking family. Happy Saturday to everybody. Hope all is well. Just 1 second. All right. So, what are we doing today? Well, we're going to do our baseball. We're going to do our basketball. We hit our basketball game yesterday. Orlando -3.5. The home team had won every game in the series, and they continued to win. We go to game 7. I think that's tomorrow. We will take Cleveland because you stay on the streak. If the home team's won every game, you stay with the home team. They're off of a loss. It's a must win. It's a game 7. Both teams back against the wall. And then we've got, let's look at our baseball. Yesterday, our 10th star won, San Diego under 9 with Dylan Cease. The 2 5-stars lost, Toronto and Oakland over 7.5. Again, it's, you get 2 pitchers with 5 ERAs and they're pitching a 2-1 game. So there's not much you can do. Pretty good day overall. I had Baltimore under 9, which won, Philly under 7.5, which won, lost with Pitt, won with the Mets. I think it was Mets over. Detroit under 8. I actually won a Detroit game. Lost with Cleveland, won with KC, lost with Boston, won with Houston, won with St. Louis, and lost with Atlanta over 9.5, which was surprising. So you get trapped into Atlanta with a big batting average when they don't score, and you're like, it's not like football where the team that scores a lot, like a Washington or like a USC or Colorado, you're expecting them to score. Like that's the thing in football. When you have USC, and not because of Caleb, but because of their coach, and they normally, they're going to put up 50 points if they're playing a Colorado. Now, if they're playing a UCLA or a team with a really good defense, Oregon, Utah, they're not going to score much, but you know that. But the surprise to correlate this would be USC playing Colorado and the game being 10-7. I mean, it happens 1 in 100, but most of the time it's a 50-47 game. Hey, Greg and Jen. So that's what you have. So we'll see. Otherwise, everything's good. We got Tooth is in. Waiting on jobs. I don't know. I might go buy gold today, but it's because it is down a little. Let's check the gold price before we get into the sports. The gold doesn't move much today. Let's see. So gold is 23.03. Got up to 23.17 yesterday. Then they had sharp 10 o'clock bullshit. It was 22.79, but it was temporary. And it was back to 22.99 by 10:05. So you can see it's just somebody's making a sale and there's no buyers for a while. And that's why it drops. And then a buyer comes in and there's no sellers for a while. So that's why you have this mess where it goes real high. It's 1 and then it drops and then it goes back up. It's all bullshit. It's all these paper derivative bullshits. And that's the problem with it. That's why we got to get to a physical market and we got to get to a real market, not this paper market. And that's why I keep warning about paper market. I mean, look at silver, 26.56. The demand is huge and the price dropped. You're like, no, that's not how it's supposed to happen. All right. So anyway, we understand that we've got bricks coming up on the 14th, and that should zoom our price. The demand for gold will be huge because bricks will be huge. Well, silver's good, but it's really price fixed, right? So I would highly recommend buying it now at the 26.56. You'd probably get it for $28 or $29, which is a joke. So keep in mind that it's being price fixed. So your question is, are they going to end the price fixing? That's really what you're asking. And that's really what I'm trying to tell you is yes, bricks will end it because they'll want a higher price because they're the ones with all the gold and silver. So think about it. That would be like, somebody telling you what you could buy and what you could sell and where you're going to work. That's called communism. But basically, let's say somebody you wanted to, do something and you're being told no. That's what silver is. Silver is price fixed, and it's not allowed to be free, to be priced at the market. So everything should be in a normal Austrian economic world that we want to live in with all the freedoms. Everything would be market. There'd be no regulations, which you don't need. And everything would be market. So as somebody wanted, the demand for silver went up, the price would go up. And if the demand went down, the price would go down. And that's what's happening with the dollar now. Nobody wants it. So as the demand goes down, there is no dollar because nobody wants it. If nobody wants it, it's worthless. That's my point. It's worthless. Nobody will buy our treasuries because of our debt. But it's not the debt, it's the inflation that devalues the money to zero. That is the problem. I'm at the horse bet place today. Who do I like? I don't even know who's playing in the Kentucky Derby. I am not the one to ask for Kentucky Derby. I don't follow it. I don't pay attention to horse racing. So it's hard enough betting on people, but betting on horses, I don't want to do. So I can't answer that. Just take play your lucky number. My lucky number is 7. Play the 7 horse. So enjoy. So you're not at the Kentucky Derby. You're just at a racetrack that has betting on it. I don't know. All right, let's look at. I was looking at the NFL Power Ranking Draft Edition, and this is Frank Schwab. What a moron this guy is. So he's like trying to grade the teams 1 to 30 with who did good in the draft. So he starts off with 32 Atlanta because they got Michael Penix. So they get the best quarterback in the draft who's a little bit older, and that's the worst grade because they got Kirk Cousins. Well, Kirk Cousins isn't very good. I mean, he throws just because you throw for a lot of yards, he doesn't win games, right? And 2 years ago, they won all those games by 1 score against some really bad teams, and then they lost the first round with the Giants. Is this a good quarterback? Not really. And now, so he goes to Atlanta because Atlanta doesn't think they can get Penix. Penix falls to him, so they draft him because it's the steal of the century. It's like buying gold. It's so cheap. And so he gives them a bad grade because he took Penix, not understanding that Kirk Cousins sucks, and they should probably trade him if they could. If anybody, trade him to the Giants. Trade him back to Minnesota. So that's the problem. I would take Penix in a heartbeat. But see, I understand the Hartman and Bo Nix. These guys I would be starting, and I would never start Drake May or the other guys. So, but I watched them play and they suck. I don't know what everybody's, smelling what the Rock's cooking with Drake May. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't make any sense. He's not that good. So then they go Cleveland. I don't know why. And then he takes Houston. Makes no sense. Then New Orleans, stupid draft. The Niners makes, bad wide receiver. Tennessee. See, here's one. Tennessee drafts this O-lineman who played right tackle at Alabama to move to left tackle. Gonna draft is that. This is like the top 10 pick. You can't find a left tackle. You take a right tackle and hope he can play left tackle. Jacksonville, a joke. Buffalo, they mention the receiver. They don't mention the safety. They had a better draft than that because of the safety. Seattle had a horrible draft. They would be my worst. Dallas had a horrible draft. They'd be second. Denver, he's got 22nd. It's surprising to see Bo Nix get trashed after the draft. Well, fuck that. He's a top talent. That was a great draft. So it's scary to take the sixth quarterback off the board at number 12, not when it's the number 2 quarterback that the other teams fucked up on and didn't take. So I don't really get it. Doesn't make sense. The Rams, whatever. Carolina, nothing around Bryce Young. Bryce Young had talent around him. This year, they bring in a bullshit receiver from South Carolina and running back Jonathan Brooks from Texas, who's not that good. So if you think that's going to help, they'll still won't win a game. I mean, this is probably another terrible pick. The Jets, I agree, should have taken Brock Bowers. Minnesota got J.J. McCarthy, and it's hard to argue against him. This guy's not a first-round pick. What, are you kidding me? I watched the Ohio State game the other day, and it was all 5-yard passes. He didn't do anything. And then he wants to run a little bit. I mean, sorry, guy. You're on Minnesota. If you run with Justin Jefferson, he'll kill you. I think Minnesota should have gotten Bo Nix. It was a terrible draft for them. Oakland, I do agree. They should. I don't like this. We'll find out if Shader Sanders is happy throwing to Brock Bowers. If they take Shader Sanders, they're out of their minds. Or Primetime Junior, as we call him. But they got Brock Bowers. They got the best player in the draft, so that's fine. The Giants should be a Z. I mean, they got a wide receiver from LSU and no quarterback. Okay, good for that. And I love how he's a dominant receiver since Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham sucks. What are you talking about? Miami. Anybody that thinks Miami is good, they got an edge rusher and Chop Robinson, Penn State, I never heard of. Then they got a running back, Jalen Wright, Tennessee, and receiver Malik Washington. I don't know. But they don't have any defense. And they got Taylor Cincinnati. I don't know. It says here they took the offensive tackle from Georgia who barely played in college. He barely played in college because he was injured, or this is his first. So he gets drafted in the first round, and he didn't play in college? That doesn't make any sense. There's no way you're taking a first-round guy who didn't play in college. So I'd like to hear what was going on there. Tampa Bay sucks. Arizona, terrible draft. Detroit. The Lions acted like a team that believes it's close to the Super Bowl. Oh, my God. Cornerbacks Arnold and Rickshaw were smart picks to fill a need. Well, you still need a defensive coordinator. LSU defensive tackle Wingo was a potential steal in the 6th round. Well, that's why he went in the 6th round. Maybe this is the class to get Detroit over the hump. Detroit won't win 6 games this year because they got to play a hard schedule. Detroit's not any good. Who do I like in baseball? We'll go through that in a minute. Who you like, Miami? Miami has a good wide receiver, but has no good quarterback. Um, Miami. I don't like Miami. I mean, the best teams are KC and Cincinnati, and now Denver and the Jets. Baltimore always chokes. Buffalo's a good team. Buffalo and Baltimore are good teams. Miami's under. The worst team in the leagues between Tennessee, New England, and then on the other side, Carolina. These aren't even pro teams. Maybe this is the classic. No, they got a bad coach and a bad defensive coordinator. So till that gets cleaned up, Detroit ain't going anywhere. Plus, as soon as they play hard teams, they lose. So we will see their schedule, but I know they're going to play the harder teams. Plus, Green Bay's a lot better, although Minnesota and Chicago didn't get any better, unfortunately. Baltimore, the Ravens picked some defensive players. Oh, it's probably not what you needed. You needed running backs and a quarterback, so not sure about that. Pittsburgh, terrible draft. They got guards, Whippy. Indy, yeah, they're terrible. New England. I was in New England 6. Drake is all about Drake May, but 2 receiver picks are important. Polk from Washington and Baker. I don't know who he's from. No, the New England's terrible. They have no coach, and Drake May sucks. So you think Drake May's just going to walk in and start? Tom Brady couldn't do that, but Drake May's just going to walk in and hit Polk and Baker. They're just going to walk in and be receivers. Problem is, Polk was the second receiver on Washington, so he was never double teamed. I don't know who this Baker guy is. Kansas City, they don't need anybody. San Diego, the Chargers ace Jim Harbaugh's first half. What is he talking about? They took Joe Alt instead of Brock Bowers. That's the dumbest move in the world. Strong offensive line is the foundation of the team. What's he talking about? He's a defensive coach. It's hard to imagine them regretting having Alt. Well, yeah, you don't even know if he's going to start. You've got a line from last year. You could have got a guy in the 4th round from Ohio State. What the fuck are you doing? So you could only get Brock Bowers. Alt you can get any round from any team. Then the Chargers took a stop with McConkey from Georgia's okay, but he's not star. Linebacker from Michigan, very nice. And then they say Chicago did the best. They did a great job. Yeah, but Caleb sucks. And they also, and then the receiver, which you don't need, you got Keenan Allen and you got DJ Moore. You don't need Rome Oduzzi. Sorry, stupid pick. Oh, I forgot putting lemon in my water. Oh well. No, I don't think Chicago's not 1. Chicago's like 32. I don't see where they're 1 because I don't see Caleb is any good. I don't know where people are thinking Caleb's good because he played for that Oklahoma offense that you just score a lot on. I mean, he was at Oklahoma the first year, and they with the no defenses, and then they got into the Pac-10, and all of a sudden you got Oregon, you got UCLA, you got Notre Dame, and all of a sudden he has 4 really bad games, but everybody still thinks he's great. And then in the bowl game, he doesn't play, and the kid who replaces him throws 6 touchdown passes, which proves it's just the system. So I see this is the problem. So you listen to this, you get all jacked on the Bears, you get all jacked on Washington, you get all jacked on Drake May, and you're like, you're listening to the wrong people. But you got to know you're listening to the wrong people, and that's the hardest thing I fight here is to get you to not listen to these idiots. I don't say necessarily listen to me, although if it's economics or football, you probably should at least get my opinion, but be careful with that. But you want to get the base and the foundation, and then like what I do is I hear these guys and I talk about gold, and I turn them to I can't listen to them. They're a bunch of idiots. Miami is a good wide receiver, but he has no good quarterback. Detroit is going to suck. Detroit is going to suck what you think. Detroit's not very good anyway. Jared Goff's not a good quarterback. Why do you think the Rams gave up on him? Detroit, their biggest problem is they have no defense. All right, so they got a receiver and this Ram Dam. Thank you, ma'am. They need running backs. They let the tight end go to Minnesota. They have a decent offensive line. It's not as good as they think. Again, they played a bunch of bad teams, so they look better. But when they were playing the good teams 2 years ago, they lost. And then last year, when they only had 2 or 3 hard teams on their schedule, and they lost Baltimore, Dallas, and then they lost to Chicago and Green Bay. But everybody discounts those again. Oh, they don't count. Look at the win against Carolina and Atlanta. Look at us beating Tampa Bay. Yeah, look at them. Look at all those big wins against the shit teams. And that's why everybody thinks the Lions are good. But when you looked at them against the Baltimore game, what do? They excused it. Well, it was just a bad game. Why would you have a bad game against Baltimore? I mean, unless you suck. If you're any good, you'd beat them. Like Cincinnati, like Cleveland beat them. Look at Kansas City. They beat them. They didn't get blown out by them. So there's the big difference. You played the Baltimore, you got killed. That was the only team you played. And then Dallas was not very good. Now with Dak Prescott. And they have trouble against good quarterbacks because they have no defense. You're ignoring the fact that Jefferson twice and CD Lamb, they all had like 200 yards, 20 catches against them, 4 or 5 games in a row. These receivers lit them up, but everybody ignores that. Well, we drafted 2 cornerbacks. You don't even know if they can play. You don't even know that they'll start. You don't know nothing about them. They were playing college. And especially the guys at Alabama, they're not good. They play a system there. They play the old Pittsburgh Steelers system. So not really sure. I mean, see when I read this draft, it's this guy will walk, here, Philadelphia. This draft was good. Picks for cornerback Mitchell and Cooper were the perfect intersection of talent. You don't know if any of those guys will even make your team. And this guy's already got him there. Washington did well. All right, Jaden Daniels I like, but it's going to take him a year or two because the LSU system is a very good system for quarterbacks under the LSU coach is a very good offensive coach. He was good at Notre Dame. But now you're going to get who's your offensive coordinator at Washington? What offense are you running? You don't even know if it'll fit. Defensive tackle Zeron Newton was an excellent value pick early in the second round. How do you know? How do you know if this guy's any good? You have no fucking idea. Like I say, most of these guys, maybe 10% will make the team of all the people drafted. And of the 10%, maybe 2% actually start. And of that, maybe 5 guys actually have a good season because you can't just go from college to pro. It doesn't work. I mean, you get a new job. You're not a superstar right away, and maybe you never are. Maybe you are, and it takes you a year. So don't tell me this guy's going to come in. Jalen Daniels is going to light it up. Don't tell me Caleb. Caleb will never light it up. Or Drake May. He's not going to light it up. They get injured. Look at Richardson last year. Well, he's an idiot because he wants to run into you. But, I mean, who is this guy to say Philadelphia? Yeah, or let's go to San Diego. He gets a dominant offensive tackle in Joe Alt. Dominant? Was he dominant at Notre Dame? Did Notre Dame win every game 72-0 because they had a dominant tackle? You don't even know if this guy can play. And you don't know if this value is better than getting a guy in the 4th round, but you know that they didn't get Brock Bowers, and that's the biggest mistake that San Diego made. It's hard to imagine them regretting having Alt. It's that you don't have Bowers is what you're regretting. Then the Chargers took a step fixing the receiver problem by taking Georgia's Land McCartney. You don't know if he's going to fix it. He was okay at Georgia. He was hurt a lot. I mean, I like the Georgia guys. Maybe he can make the team, and maybe he gets on the field. In the second round, linebacker Junior Colson, any guy from Michigan, forget about it. They, as a gimmick defense, they blitz 6 guys every play. So you cannot, if you're so good, you rush 4 guys. So I'm not saying this Junior Colson, he didn't do anything at Michigan. So this is the problem where they're just assuming you drafted a guy who you have no idea about. You don't even know if he'll make the team. Oakland's an example. They drafted a great running back, Sensor McCormick from UTSA. Guy was fabulous. Hasn't seen the field yet. Now it's partly because they had that Alabama running back who sucked. So let's see if he plays this year. But that's your problem. You got this guy. He's great. He doesn't even see the field. It's been 2 years. So I'm not buying I ain't smelling what they're cooking here. So it's really hard to watch. Okay, let's go to baseball. Let's do the NBA because it's just one game. And then we'll go to baseball. So we hit our game yesterday. Game 6. We've got Orlando at home, down 3-2, back against the wall. They win by 10. There you go. W. Teaserking. Tonight, we've got a new series, Minnesota and Denver. Denver's the 2 seed. Minnesota's the 3 seed. Denver's -4.5. Nobody has the back against the wall, so there's no point in playing it. I would bet the loser back because this is 2 against 3, and they both, let's see, Minnesota beat Phoenix 4-0, Denver beat the Lakers 4-1. So they're both good teams. So whoever loses this game is who we bet in game 2. If it goes down 2-0, then we really unload in game 3 on who's down 2-0. So if Denver wins the first 2 games at home, then we unload on Minnesota game 3. That'll be a lock if that happens because they'll be getting a good line because they only look at the game. Well, yeah, if Minnesota loses at Denver, the game was at Denver. But if the next game's at Minnesota, it's not at Denver, right? It's all switched. Most people have a hard time with that concept. So Denver -4.5. I don't know 208. I don't know over-unders here at this point. Haven't looked at them, but that's something I like. But when I did look at basketball to try to get over-unders, it made no sense. They all scored about 110. They all gave up about 105. So you really didn't know what to make of an over-under as you do in that. But I would just watch this game, maybe take Denver. Home team seems to win game 1, but don't know. We got to see the matchup. The Knicks or Celtics. They're not playing tonight. The Knicks or Celtics. I don't know. New York plays Indiana, and Boston's going to play probably Cleveland. So we'll talk about that if they even play. But I have no idea. I play them game by game. Who's got the back against the wall? I can't name 3 players in the league right now. Magic, Bird, and Kareem. Okay. That's who I know. So I don't know these players. I don't need to know the players. It's the psychology. Backs against the wall. They have to win, like Orlando. I couldn't name you 1 player on Orlando. I don't need to name 1 player on Orlando. All I need to know is they're down 3-2. They must win, and they won by 10. That's the psychology that works in basketball. Yeah. Well, that's how it works in every part of life. If the back is against the wall, then it's like one thing. If you're working, you maybe not buy gold, but when you're not working and you realize your money's worthless, your back's against the wall, then you go buy gold and silver before it's too late. And what are you going to do if you don't have any gold and silver? And then you need it because the dollar's worthless. So then your back's against the wall. How am I going to feed myself? Because all I got is this shit. Right? If this is all I got, I ain't eating. I need this stuff, right? I need gold. So that's the problem, right? All right. So nothing in basketball tonight. Tomorrow looks like it'll be Cleveland Orlando game 7, and then I don't know if they'll start with the game 1s. Probably because it's a Sunday. By the way, tomorrow is Easter Sunday in Russia. I was talking to Jenna and getting ready for the holiday. What holiday? Oh, it's Easter. Oh, okay. So I remember our Easter was the end of March. So I said, Happy Easter. And they go, We don't have Easter now. When do you have it? Oh, May 5th. So they have it tomorrow. So I already wished them Happy Easter. Dario was going to some sort of barbecue, and Jenna, Sim's with the family. She's making a rice and meat dish. So nice of her. But yeah, so I wish it to a few of my friends in Europe. And I don't know. It's getting bad, the whole economy and everything. Okay, so we've gone through yesterday's. We hit our San Diego under with Dylan Cease. That was our 10-star. And then we lose both 5 stars, Toronto and Oakland over, which, I don't think they changed pitchers, but it was surprising. Like Oakland played Miami, I think won 2-1 or 3-2 or something. So they didn't hit. So that's why it's hard batting average wise. That's why I like going against the pitcher, because the pitcher can quiet the hitters. And so when I see a bad pitcher, I think he can't, but then he does. And you're like, okay. All right. So let's go. Detroit, New York. New York's at 165, 7.5. KC Mize against Clark Schmidt, or Clark W. Griswold. Clark Schmidt. He's pitched 5 innings a game. He pitches 5 innings, gives up 3 runs, 2 runs, 2 runs, 1 run, 3 run, 1 run. So he always gives up something. You can hit him, and he only plays 5 innings. So now we got to look at the Yankees bullpen. It's a 308. It's a really good bullpen. Detroit can hit. So we got to go under here. The over-under 7.5. So let's go Detroit under 7.5. Nothing on it. No 5-10 unit. WDOT backlash PPVs on today from France. You're going to go to France and watch it, or you're going to go to Kentucky to watch the Derby? I don't waste. I don't even know who's in the wrestling anymore. I used to watch it 20 years ago, but yeah, I mean, okay, enjoy. I guess if you're watching it, whatever. Boston and Minnesota. Brendan Barrando, 0-1 with an 0.73 against Pablo Lopez, 2-2 with a 4.83. Now, I did look up this Barrando guy, and he's a bullpen guy. So this is Boston bullpen. And then I look at Boston's bullpen, and they got a 2.68 ERA. So they're smoking with a 2.46 average against Minnie with a 3.99, and they can't hit. So Pablo Lopez. I almost like Boston in this game. They're a big dog, but it's a bullpen day, and nobody's going to hit their bullpen. I'm going to go under. I can't. How do I bet on a pitcher who's a bullpen guy? So let's go Boston under 7. I know I hate that it's so low, but Boston's got such a good bullpen, and they got such weak hitting. Minnesota can't even hit 200. So it's an under. What happened yesterday? I had Boston lost, so Minnesota won at home. So I'll go under 7. Yeah, why did wrestling lose a lot of their audience over the last 20 years? Well, it's the normal function of everything. Everything changes. And, not only that, but I mean, baseball had superstars, Mantle and Koufax and Bob Gibson and Nolan Ryan comes in, and um, Willie Mays, and then they're gone. So why did baseball drop? Because they don't have any talent. They don't have anybody you want to go to the game. So Detroit's playing New York. Are you going to go to the game? Is Mickey Mantle playing? I'd go to the game. Is Joe DiMaggio playing? I'd go to the game. Who's there? Who do they got? Nobody? Oh, so I probably won't go to the game to see nobody. It's capturing your interest. That's why you go after the pretty girl, because she's pretty. You're interested in her. Now, the other girls that aren't pretty, you don't waste your time with, right? Or maybe you talk to them, but there's no interest in the not pretty girl versus the pretty girl. And so baseball doesn't have the pretty girl right now. There's no Mays, there's no Mantle. Wrestling, I have no idea who they have. Rock's gone, Stone Cold's gone, Hogan's gone, Flair's gone. Who am I watching? A bunch of, I never heard of these guys. So I have no interest in it, especially, all right, you're in France. Why? I don't know why these sports keep trying to go international. Wrestling's in France. The NFL is going to have a game. They have a game in Germany. They have a game in England. They have a game in Mexico. I think they're having a game in Brazil this year. I don't know why they keep. There's TVs, there's internet. You can watch the replays. You don't need to actually fly to these games. It makes the betting extremely difficult because the players are extremely tired. I know. I fly to Europe. It's extremely tiring. Uh, I don't know why. Why would wrestling go to France? What's in France besides a revolution? It's just stupid. Soccer is most popular in these countries because it's the cheapest sport. They can't afford it. They're all socialist. So to get one ball and have 20 guys entertain themselves, that's why they do it. But the U.S. is wealthy, so we have baseball. You want to go play baseball? You buy a mitt, you buy a bat, you're all set. You want to play basketball is simple, but more people are taller, and there's more money in basketball here. Football, you need a group. And hockey, you need a lot of equipment that's expensive, skates and pads, a couple of sticks, and a place to play. It takes a lot to rent an arena. So that's why hockey's only good in like Russia and Czechoslovakia. And then you have basketball's pretty big in Europe, but soccer, it's a cheap sport, basically. And there's nothing to do there. So people, like I said, they can't watch football and they can't watch baseball because it doesn't exist in most of those countries, which leaves you with football, which doesn't exist. Maybe basketball, which probably draws a big thing, but soccer, you need a big stadium. Basketball, you don't. So it's more popular because you need a 120-yard stadium, and you can sit 60,000 people, and they go to the games, and they get drunk, and they bet on it, and it's just like going to a football game here. So and is there college? See here, there's college football and pro football. Is there college soccer there? Does U of M play soccer games there? So yeah, but it's a bullshit explanation. It's only because there's nothing else. So there's a hot blonde. There's an average blonde girl and nobody else, and nobody else is attractive. So of course she's average, but she's the only one. So you go to the prettiest girl, but that's it. You're not going to, there's not the hot girls that you're going to go to in these countries, right? So in other words, soccer's okay looking girl, but the hot girls, the football and the baseball and the hockey aren't there. So the prettier girls aren't even there. So you settle on the average girl because that's your choice. You don't have that choice. So that's really where soccer is. But why are we talking about soccer? Greg and John, you amaze me with yeah. Can you not focus? We're going through baseball now, and you want to talk about soccer, and you want to talk about these wrestling, like maybe after we're done with baseball, but because it starts at 2 o'clock, it's 11:43. Yeah, the vampire. Okay, so we're Boston under. Okay, the White Sox and the Cardinals. We got St. Louis 185 and 8. We've got Eric Feedy 2-0 at the 260 against Lance Lynn 1-0 at the 264. I think the White Sox can hit. They had 207 with a bad bullpen, and St. Louis hits 217. So neither team can hit. White Sox have a bad bullpen. They can't hit. I'm going to go St. Louis under 8. Just because the White Sox just are so bad, but neither team really hits. And both starters are 260 and 264. I'm going to make this a 5-unit. St. Louis under 8. Just because I got good pitchers and lousy hitting. Milwaukee and the Cubbies. The Cubbies are 130 favorite, 8.5 over under. Tobias Myers 0-1 with a 4.50 from Milwaukee, and James Talion 2-0 with a 1.50. We're gonna go Cubbies. Go Cubbies. Beat Navy. It'll make it a 5-unit. Toronto and Washington. Kevin Gausman 1-3 with the 4.50 against Jake Irvin. Now, this looks like an over. Let's see if either team can hit. Toronto, it's 236. Washington, 238. Both bullpens are 4.3. And both starters are 4 or 5. So we got to go over, but not for anything. Toronto over 8. And we'll leave it at that. Colorado Pitt. Colorado, Austin Gomber 0-2 with a 4.50 against Jared Jones, 2-3 with a 3.18. Pittsburgh is a minus 210. Wow. And a 7. So this Comer must really suck. Colorado's 8-24. I don't know. I can't lay 210 with Jared Jones or Jimmy Jones. 2-3 with a 3.18. So that leaves, can either team hit? Colorado, it's 241 with a 6.08 ERA. And Pitt hits 236 with the 370. See, it's hard to really figure out what's a good average here. That's you get a 260 average. Oh, they're going to score 5 runs. No, it just means they're going to get an average. I can look at totals, but again, that's diluted because you're playing all these different teams. So what Chicago does against New York is not what Chicago is going to do against Boston. And that's really where you get screwed in this. Pittsburgh hits 236 with the 3.7. So Pitt probably will win the game. I don't like this Jerry Jones guy. I'm going to just stay away from that. Miami and Oakland, the 1974 AFC Championship. Not even the championship game. Talk about a setup game. Yeah, Miami playing Oakland. Miami's trying to go for 4 straight Super Bowls, 3 straight Super Bowl champions. And here's Oakland, Madden, Stabler, and everybody. The game's in Oakland, and they win it at the end. Very emotional game. And then here comes the Steelers the next week, and Oakland had no chance because you're facing my Steelers. So it made it incredibly difficult for Oakland to have to beat Miami and then have to get back up to beat Pittsburgh. Was not going to happen. And that's just a scheduling problem. Cost them a Super Bowl, but because they played Minnesota, so everybody was beating Minnesota. Anyway, Trevor Rogers 0-4 with a 4.31 against Paul Blackburn, 2-1 with a 3.34. Let's go Oakland. I like Blackburn, but no 5-unit. The 49ers and the Phillies. Philly 175 and 7. Keaton Wynn 3-3 with a 3.18 for the Niners. Roger Suarez 5-0. There you go. We're gonna make Philadelphia. Let's just check the ERA. I think this is our 10 unit here. San Francisco hits 245 with a 4.43. Philly hits 256 with the 3. Yeah, we're gonna make this our 10 unit. Go Philly, beat Navy, 10 units. It's 10 units because I got Roger Suarez, who's 5-0 with a 1.32. I got a good bullpen, and I can hit better than Frisco, and I'm at home. So I definitely like. Let's go Phillies, and they're playing well. They're 22-11. The Niners, Montana's not playing tonight, so forget them. California against Cleveland. Cleveland a 135, 8.5. Reed Detmers 3-2 with a 3.12 against Ben Lively, 0-1 with a 2.30. Here's where I get lost. Now Trout's out. Shotani's on the Dodgers betting frantically on BetMGM or FanDuel. I love it how they have a FanDuel and all these casinos, sponsors and commercials, and then they go, "Oh, you can't bet." And what the fuck? You got all these FanDuels on commercials of your games for? I mean, it's so stupid. You're in trouble when you start advertising sports books. That's when the country knows they're in trouble, because all that is trying to generate tax income. So the company makes money because everybody's going to lose, and then they get paid taxes. So it's a tax. It's all for taxes. Greg and John. Okay. Lively, but he's 0-1 with a 2.30. What's going on with Ben Lively? Are you a reliever? He started Boston, 5 innings, 2 runs, 6 innings, 1 run against Boston again, and then against Atlanta, 4 innings and 1 run. He doesn't give up a lot, but he can't go past 5 innings. Hard to bet. See, you're only going to get 5 innings from the guy, so it's hard to bet on him. It's hard to make the over-under because now it's up to the bullpen. So let's pass on this game. Baltimore and Cincinnati, it's a good World Series, 1970 or 71. I don't know. They played the Pirates. I think they played Cincinnati. Baltimore minus 110 and over under 9. John Means 0-0 with an 0-0-0. Andrew Abbott 1-3 with a 3.27. Johnny Means has got to be a bullpen guy, or he's not pitched. And yeah, his last game was September 29th. So this guy hasn't pitched. Against Cincinnati, Andrew Abbott 1-3 with a 3.27. Baltimore hits the shit out of the ball. Let's see. They hit 257 with the 3.87. Cincinnati hits 219 with the 3.9. Baltimore's a 110 favorite. I can't bet on John Means because he hasn't pitched. So I don't know what I'm getting if he even goes 3 or 4 innings. And what's Baltimore's bullpen looks like? 3.87 is pretty good. 3.90. So they got this pretty good bullpens. Baltimore should win, but I can't bet the pitcher. So I'd be guessing going over under 9. So I'm going to leave that alone. Texas, KC. See, I'm not getting sound stats to get I don't know what the expected outcome is going to be. So when I look at that game, Cincinnati, Baltimore, how do I get an expected outcome? I got a pitcher that's not pitched all year against Andrew Abbott, who's 1-3 with a 3.27. I can't get an expected outcome there. So I go to batting averages, and Baltimore's a little bit better, but Cincinnati's is weak, and both bullpens are pretty good. So if anything, I would think the expected outcome is an under 9 at best. But again, there's too much risk because Johnny Means hasn't pitched this year for Baltimore. So I don't know what I'm getting. So therefore, how do I get an expected outcome when I got a pitcher that I can't get an outcome on? So that's why you leave it alone. You don't have to bet all the games. You just bet the games that make sense. Like in the NBA, we bet the games where their backs against the wall. Orlando last night, that made sense. Cleveland's up 3-2. The game's in Orlando. The home teams won every game. We bet Orlando. Orlando wins by 10, lane 3. Beautiful bet. That made sense. But today, the first game of Denver and was it Minnesota doesn't make sense. We don't know anything. We don't know the matchup, and there's nobody with their back against the wall. So therefore, what do we do with it, right? If nobody has their back against the wall, then it's just a guess, and I don't like to guess. So we're not going to guess that. That's okay. We'll have game 2 when we can start playing. Texas against Kansas City. We got Dane Dunning, 3-2 with a 4.13 against Michael Waka, 1-3 with a 4.24. Here I'm going over 8.5. KC over 8.5. And KC's hitting about 234, and Texas, I know they can hit, 248, 394. This is going to be close, but I think with these starting pitchers of both over 4, I should get 5 or 6 runs in the first 4 or 5 innings until they pull them. Bullpens are okay, so I'm gonna need a few runs in the 8th inning to get over, I think, but I think I'll get there. Seattle, Houston 150. I think they're starting to pick it up. Logan Gilbert, 2-0 with the 203 against Famber Valdez, 1-0 with the 260. I know Seattle can't hit. Let's go under in this game. Houston under 7.5. The Mets, the METSs against Tampa Bay, the Buccaneers. The Mets are a 110 favorite. Christian Scott, 0-0 with an 0-0 again, which is probably he's not pitched. And no stats for this guy at all. He's never pitched. He was drafted in 2021, 5th round by the JETSs. He hurts his Achilles, and he's been on the bench. And that's it. No, I don't know if he got injured, but he's not. This is his first game. What are you supposed to do with this guy? And yet the Mets are favored 110 against Zach Littell, 1-2 with the 3.27 for Tampa. This game will be decided on their hitting. So the Mets hit 243, not bad, 3.56 ERA. And Tampa Bay hits 244 to 4.56. Again, over under 7.5. This game could be 1-0, but we don't know what Scott's going to do. Again, it's already we're May 4th. We played 32 games, and I got 2 pitchers so far that haven't pitched yet. So I gotta leave this alone because I don't know what I'm going to get from Christian Scott. So 2 more games: San Diego, Arizona. Arizona's a 125, 8.5. Michael King, 2-3 with a 5 ERA against Brandon Pfaadt, Pfaadt. You figure it out. 1-1 with a 4.63. Let's go over. SD over 8.5. I think these teams can hit. Arizona, yeah, they're hitting 250. And San Diego's they're a good team. They're hitting 250. So we're going over. We're going to make it a 5 unit. We got 2 weak pitchers, a 5 and a 4.63. We hope those are our actual pitchers. And so based on those pitchers, I'm going over. If they change on us, then I don't know what to do. But at this point, we have to assume these are the pitchers. And then Atlanta and the Dodgers. Bryce Elder, 1-0 with a 1.50. Glass now 5-1 with the 2.72. Here's our under. Take Atlanta. We're going under 8.5, and that's a 5-star. It's funny is I haven't seen Shotani pitch yet. Is he not pitching this year? I have not. And we do this every day. I finally am seeing Verlander. I haven't seen Shotani. I think he's the DH. I don't know if he's playing outfield. He should never be pitching. If it was good enough for Babe Ruth, it's good enough for this idiot. There's no reason to have this guy pitching in and playing right field. That's the dumbest thing. Put him in the outfield if he's such a good hitter, and that's it. And maybe you save him for the playoffs to pitch an inning or two. But to pitch this guy every 5 days has to be the stupidest thing I've ever seen. I don't know how good a pitcher he is. He's not the MVP because he can play two positions. Shit, half the guys out there can play multiple positions. Guy will play left field, will play center field. What's the difference? All right, so that's what we got. Detroit under 7.5, and Boston under 7. St. Louis under 8, our 5-star. The Cubbies, 5-star. Toronto over 8. Oakland. Philly is our 10-star. KC over 8.5. Houston under 7.5. San Diego over 8.5 is a 5-star. And Atlanta under 8.5 is a 5-star. So we got two unders in the 5-stars. We got a couple other unders, Detroit and Boston. It's where the early games seem to be 2-1, and then the later games seem to score. So let's see if that holds true. So we got 5 picks for you today. Again, they're not forced. There's a couple games I didn't play because I don't know who the starter hasn't pitched before. I mean, what the fuck is that? So that be baseball. I got a weird text today about a job. And it goes something like this. There are numerous jobs and roles available in various industries. We send you and you choose what fits you. Excuse me? To start off, I'll outline the criteria for joining our recruiting. Currently, we're offering part and full-time jobs that take 30 to 60 minutes and earn an income of 70 to 150. Payment is made on a daily basis. The requirements, you got to be a U.S. citizen and own a bank account. Who the fuck doesn't own a bank account? I think this is a scam, a Ponzi scheme. Then I'll have to give them my bank account information, and then I start getting scammed. I've never seen this for a job. I'm going to work 30 to 60 minutes and earn 70 to $150 on a daily basis. I've never seen a job like this. I mean, this is absolutely a scam. The normal way it moves is, what are you looking that they call you up? What are you looking for? And they apply you to a job. I've never heard this. Well, you'll do it daily. Are you a citizen? Do you have a bank account? Who doesn't have a bank account? When a recruiter calls me for a finance job, I don't give them my bank account information. I never give them, only when I actually get the offer, and then they're going to direct deposit me. So then I have to give them the account, but I've interviewed and I know it's legit. Here, why are you asking for my bank account? No, sorry. So beware when you get these strange texts. Houston is a good team. Okay. They've been a good team. They're not really good this year. They're getting better, though. All right. So that's beware of the scam. Not a lot of really good there's not a lot of good things. See, I don't like this guy. See, Egon gives you this guy, but I don't like him. He's not really sharp. Anyway, I don't see a lot of good. I like watching this guy, this Douglas McGregor. Seems like he knows what he's talking about, except for he thinks Bitcoin's real, so doesn't know everything. He shouldn't talk about it because he looks bad. See, and then here's why we're buying gold. BRICS conducts $260 billion worth of trade. Well, we know that's going on. They're buying oil, the yuan. They're using yuan, and so some of the countries are using yuan or their local currency, which is what it should be. Should be free market. And if I'm in Switzerland and I want to go to Germany and I want to hear Swiss francs for the German mark, fine. And that's probably done independently. So if I'm Teaser King and I'm in Switzerland and you want to pay me, you can pay me in euros, and I'll take the euros and cash them, and make them, put them in the Swiss francs. Uh, I don't like this whole, well, you got to use US dollars to convert. What is that? That's a bunch of horse shit. That's why we're the world reserve currencies, because we're blackmailing everybody. It's a terrible thing that they do, but basically, it's wrong. So, I don't see it because I am US, so I buy euros. I have US dollars. So for me, it doesn't matter. But I can see where if I was Swiss and I had to go to Germany or Spain or wherever we vacation, it'd be like, are you fucking kidding me? I gotta sell my francs to buy that. I don't know. I would probably just use my credit card all the time then. I don't really need a lot of cash when I'm there. Um, they'll take my debit and credit card and they'll say, "Do you want to use US dollars or euros?" I usually just say US dollars. It's fine. But I know I'm going to get hit on an FX charge, but it's not too bad. It's nickels and dimes, but that's where they're at. So, anyway, so that's your sports. Um, the reason we want gold is because the dollar will be worthless. Why? Because they printed it to death, and that's really when these people get technical and they go, "Oh, the GDP, and look what happened in 2008." Well, these people don't understand the dollar's COMEX is manipulating the dollar. They don't. It's price fixed. So anybody, if you're watching any of these things, I don't know if you are or you just watch me, but when they do a chart in 2008 on gold or COMEX, it's pointless. It's price fixed. You can't get any information out of it of what will happen this year versus what happened last year. It makes no fucking sense to look at it. It's apples and oranges. It's a price fixed system. So how can you possibly measure what gold's going to do today? Because what happened in 2008 when COMEX is price fixed then and it's still price fixed now? You can't, because you don't know if the same, too many variables change. Now we got 35 trillion in debt. Now we're broke. So how are you going to equate the same pattern to it? You can't. So it makes no sense. Excuse me. So that's why we don't look at like I say, I use it the Tom Brady one. You can't use New England's variables now because Tom Brady's not there if you're using the Tom Brady variables or the Peyton Manning or any of these. The Bears had Caleb, he's gone, or had Fields. The Jets now have Aaron Rodgers, but he didn't play last year, so you have no Jets. So that's why I had to get away from the teaser trend analysis, because I can't use the variables. I can only use it with Kansas City Maybe with Cincinnati now for 3 or 4 years with Joe Burrow. San Diego, I got a new coach. Oakland, I got a new coach. I mean, you get new coaches I've never seen anything like it. These are the worst run companies in the world, or the football. They're constantly changing management. They're constantly changing quarterbacks. They're drafting quarterbacks and throwing them in there right away because it sounds like a money decision. Well, we'll start Caleb right away because we'll draw people in. Not that we'll win, but people will come to see Caleb. We'll watch him throw 5 interceptions. That'll last about 4 weeks, and then everybody will be booing him. And the same thing with Daniels, and for sure Drake May and McCarthy. If you're starting McCarthy at New England because you think it's going to draw fans, and you had Tom Brady for 20 years, as soon as he throws his 2 interceptions in the first half of his first game, they ain't going to watch him. You can't fuck with New England because of Brady. So he's not going to win like Brady. He's not that good. He's not a good quarterback. Oh, he's got a big arm and he can scramble. But he's not going to win because we've already watched Lamar scramble, can't throw, and we see how they don't win. Or Josh Allen, we see him running. But at the end of the day, they don't win. The winners are Burrow and Stafford and Mahomes. Those are your winners. Brock Purdy got there. And they don't run. They're pocket passers, and it's a pocket game and hitting the receivers. Those are the quarterbacks you need. All these others are just fantasy. CJ Richardson, are you kidding me? Stroud wants to run now. Yeah, these guys, they don't know what they're doing running these teams. It's like the Pistons. They have the worst team. The owner's a billionaire, but he doesn't care. He hires a GM that doesn't know anything about basketball, can't spot talent. He has a coach that sucks, and they win 5 games last year. And everybody boos and wants a new owner. He's the owner. He ain't going in. He's in it for the money. He's not in it to win. He's in it for the money. And that's what it sounds like with all these football. Most of these football, Chicago, they're in it for the money. New England's in it for the money. They draft a terrible quarterback who's cheap, and they're in it for the money. But I can dissect that because I can go, you ain't winning with Lamar, so you're not winning with half these guys. You are going to win with Penix, and you are going to win with Bo Nix. Denver is actually playing to win. They don't care about the money. Otherwise, they would have kept Russell Wilson. San Diego looks like they're in it for the money. They got rid of the good receivers, Keenan Allen and the other guy, to save money. And then they drafted a guard because he's cheaper than Brock Bowers. So they end up exactly for the money. San Diego's got to be a very tough place, especially when they're not playing in San Diego and they have no fans. So that'd be like if Cleveland moved to Detroit. Who cares? Why would we go to a game? I wouldn't all of a sudden be a Cleveland Brown fan because now they're playing in Detroit. I got a team. So if I'm in LA, you're a Ram fan. Nobody's a San Diego fan. And then, the Raiders couldn't do it, right? They tried to move to LA and nobody cared, unless they're the Oakland fans. Teams like maybe Pittsburgh and Green Bay have fans everywhere that they might be able to pull it off. So if Pittsburgh Steelers came here, I wouldn't give a shit. If Joe Green and Lynn Swann aren't on the team and Franco, I'm not interested. But it's just weird that San Diego moves to LA. They have no fans. Nobody cares. So, here comes Harbaugh in. This guy's just looking at making money. He's at a bigger stadium because he's cheaper rent than fixing up the San Diego stadium. Screws all his fans. Yeah, it's an hour drive from San Diego to LA, or an hour and a half. And you think anybody's doing it? maybe a couple thousand people take a bus. Maybe you can bus to LA to watch the San Diego Chargers. They're not even called San Diego anymore. It's a slap in the face. That's why I call them San Diego and Oakland, because that's who they are. And the same thing with Oakland moving to Vegas. Does anybody give a shit? No. First of all, there's not enough people in Vegas who are actually going to go to the game. And it's not like, oh, good, now we have a football team. You don't have a football team. I'll give them the hockey team because it's a new team. And for some reason in hockey, you can apparently have nobody on your team and go to the NHL finals because it's such a bad league that, yeah, we'll take these 20 guys. Oh, yeah, we made the playoffs. How about that? That's just ridiculous, right? So that's the only Vegas team I could see. But if the Oakland A's go there and the Oakland Raiders go there, they're Oakland, and they fuck their fans. And again, if I'm in Vegas, I don't even want to go to Vegas to pay stadium taxes. It's enough with the hotel tax that they charge. Oh, you want to stay here? It's $100. Oh yeah, but we're going to call you this resort fee. It's another $60 a night. For what? Well, you get Wi-Fi. Yeah, I don't get that at any other hotel, only in Vegas. So I don't know. My taste for Vegas, like I said, watching The Gambler, my taste for Vegas, 1973. It was very pretty and a lot of lights and, good food, cheap, not too crowded. And now you've made it. I don't know what you've made it. You've ruined it. There's no light. There's no stardust lighting up. That's why I watch the Gambler movies. Just really to see that stardust light up. It's just the way the colors and the lights and everything else. It's very attractive. You've ruined that. You've not only gotten rid of it, but the Wynn doesn't light up, and the Venetian doesn't light up, and Caesars doesn't light up, and anything that lights up, the best thing you got is Bellagio water fountain. So that's the problem. I don't see how anybody is rooting for San Diego. A couple thousand people probably take a bus from San Diego. Anybody in LA could give a shit about San Diego, like me. If the Cleveland Browns or the Chicago Bears moved here, I wouldn't bat an eye. I didn't. I don't want. Well, it'd be better than watching the Lions, but I wouldn't bat an eye. I think it's incredibly stupid. So I don't know what the owners are just there for the money. See, they're trying to run it as a business and make money, which is what Vegas is doing. Well, we want to make money off the hotel and off the restaurants, but not on the gambling. So all the easy money they made from gambling, they're not making because nobody's playing $100 blackjack. And you're so expensive on your hotel and on your food. I don't know how they're still in business. I guess they're getting enough gamblers in, but sorry, I'm not eating. I'm not paying $60 at the Caesars buffet. That's ridiculous. $60, and you got to wait in line like 20 minutes. It looks like to even get to the buffet, which is absolutely ludicrous. That's the problem. You had good buffets that were cheap. You had the sports books and affordable blackjack $5. So you could gamble, you could eat cheap. The rooms were cheap, and you'd lose at gambling, but that's okay. But at least you felt like you're getting a deal. Now everything's very expensive, and there's no lights. There's the meals are way too expensive. I mean, I'm going to CVS to grab a salad and a tuna sandwich and a Diet Coke to take back to Caesars to watch a football game. That's the beauty of it. It's insane. They not everybody's independently wealthy, so I don't know who's running Vegas. They are missing the point. And it's funny. I'll go and I'll say, "Can I talk to the manager?" He never shows up. No, they don't want to talk. They don't want to talk. I'd say, what the fuck are you doing here? Why are you ruining your hotel? And their earnings are down, I'm sure. But again, see, I know because I used to go. What in I think it was 1980. I turned 21, so I used to go in the 80s, and I know how it was. And I'd go by myself and bet the football games and play the poker in the early 80s and all the 90s. And you could walk around, and it was very pretty. I remember walking every day from Caesars to the Desert Inn, which is a long walk, to I would bet my sports, and then I would, if I won, I would walk back the next day to cash it and make some more bets. I think I was betting baseball then, and at the Desert Inn, So I'd, instead of just betting at Caesars, it was just to get out, but I enjoyed that. And there would be nobody on the road Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. All of a sudden, the people would start coming in Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They'd all leave Sunday. But that's when it was good. And now it's not. But back to the original, if you moving these teams shows you it's just about the money, because you're totally fucking your fans over. And the draft pick of the offensive lineman instead of Brock Bowers shows you they can pay the guy a lot cheaper. Because offensive linemen don't get, that's why so many offensive linemen are drafted. It's a cheaper pick because the quarterbacks you got to pay more. Now Chicago, all right, they're so far under salary cap, and they're actually, I don't know if they're trying to win or what. They got some good defensive linemen. So let's say the Bears are trying to win. The Packers are trying to win. But that's a public company, the Packers. There's no owner. It's public. So they, of course, want to win. Minnesota doesn't want to win because they get new coaches every other year, and Kirk Cousins. So if you wanted to win, Kirk Cousins isn't your answer. Atlanta's the same way. They're there for the money. However, they signed Cousins, and then they realized they made a mistake and drafted Penix, going, wow, Penix is much better. So everybody looks at Atlanta going, well, you got Cousins, but they fail to realize Cousins stinks. If Cousins is no good, why do I want, and I have a chance at Penix? So let's go back to women, as we like. There's this girl, she's okay, and you don't have a date, so well, yeah, she's nice, and she's okay, and you take her out to dinner, and then you see this really hot blonde who's very nice, who you want to go out with, and so you're going to dump the first girl who was nice because you didn't have anybody. But now this other girl is very nice, and this other girl's a little prettier and just as nice. So you're saying, well, no, she's prettier and she's available. I'm going to go out with her, and I'm going to dump the first girl because she was okay, but she was only there because I didn't have anybody. But now that I found this other girl, I'm going to go out with her. And that's basically Atlanta. Well, we don't have anybody. We'll take Kirk Cousins. And then here's the hot blonde Penix, and they're like, oh, we can get him? Oh, okay. See you later, Cousins. And that's what happens. Okay. So that's what's happening with Penix, but people don't realize it. Well, you have Cousins. It's a stupid draft. You took Penix. Penix was the best quarterback in the draft. Up there, a little bit better than Bo Nix because he beat him. He was undefeated last year. I didn't see a problem with his knee. I don't know what the hell they're talking. Yeah, he was injured. So was Aaron Rodgers. But guess what? Aaron Rodgers is going to start. Everybody gets injured. Dan Marino, he had the Achilles, but he played the next 5 years or whatever. Players get injured and they recover. Penix looked fine. Oh, he's older. Well, he's in, 24? Like, okay, he'll be okay. Just because these guys played 6 years, it's because of COVID. And with the NIL, if they got paid to stay, I mean, look at Gabriel. He's going from Oklahoma to Oregon. Instead of going in the draft, he goes to Oregon because they're going to give him whatever. And I don't know what's the accurate amount they're paying him in the NIL, but that's not the point of the NIL. But it's supposed to be a license agreement. If they sell the jerseys, they give them $2 for selling the jersey. But now they're paying these guys something to come to them. So instead of going to the NFL, Gabriel goes to Oregon to play to get paid. And if that's the case, then do you care that he's a year older? Well, not, because now the rules have changed. They're not 4 years and drafted. A lot of them will play 6 years because they'll transfer and then maybe they get hurt, but 6 years is not a big deal. They're probably more mature to ready to go because you don't want to give them time to learn. Before they would sit on the bench for 2-3 years like Aaron Rodgers, and then they'd play. But now it's they want to play him right away. Well, these guys aren't ready now. Penix might be because he's older, and Bo Nix, and then Cam Rising. These guys will come in ready to play, but not the first guys. So that's the biggest difference. So if you can get a better player in a draft, that's not going to cost you much because it's the first round salary cap quarterback. They're going to pay him something, but not that much. But they're going to be way better off because they found their quarterback. Not the Riddler and not Heineken and not any of these idiots. They've got a real good quarterback in Penix. So that's what you have to do. And so I can see Cousins getting rid of Cousins very quickly. Maybe he starts 4 or 5 games. And as soon as he starts throwing his 3 interceptions a game, then they'll get rid of him. And you got Penix. And it's good anyway because now Cousins can't fuck around. He's got to play good, which he never – how he got drafted, how he's in the league, I have no idea. He sucked at Michigan State. There was nothing I saw for that guy that I would have drafted him. I like Connor Cook at Michigan State. He won the Rose Bowl for them, and then he beat Ohio State in the Big Ten championship. I don't know what happened to that guy. He fell off the earth, but he was really good. So then again, I don't know what happened. I think he just had mental issues and couldn't get along with the team. They made a big deal that he wasn't a captain. And I'm like, oh, is every quarterback a captain? Is that what it takes to get drafted? Captain. So anyway, that was a very intelligent move by Atlanta, getting a much better quarterback. What has Kirk Cousins done? He's choked. Has he won a playoff game? They lost to the fucking Giants last year. And he's off an Achilles, so he's hurt. They don't say anything about that. They don't say anything. Well, they're signing a guy who's got an Achilles injury, and they're paying him $40 million. That I'd be worried. But paying quarterbacks $40 million is a joke. It's just ridiculous. That's also turning you off. Guy's making $40 million, really? He makes almost as much as the government, as the politicians. They make at least $40 million a year to do nothing, to lie in bed with the Russians and the Chinese. Well, anyway, so be careful there. That was a good draft, and everybody's poo-pooing it because they think Cousins all of a sudden got good. Yeah, I don't think so. And if you didn't have Jefferson, Cousins wouldn't have been half the quarterback the last, 3 years, 4 years, 3 years with Jefferson. He couldn't win with Jefferson, right? So what's he going to do in Atlanta? But I give Penix 4 or 5 games, and then he's ready to go, being older. But that's normal now, so I don't know why they're picking on him. Bo Nix will be a superstar at Denver with Sean Payton. But I don't know why they can't see this. Why can't you see Penix and Bo Nix and Daniels being good? Because watch them in college, right? The Oregon killed everybody. Even Washington, there was 36, 35 games. And then you get to Caleb and you wonder, what is it about Caleb that you think he's any good? He had a few good games. That was my point about Tagovailoa against New Mexico State and Southwest Louisiana. He lit it up, but then when you saw him against Clemson and Georgia and LSU, he didn't show up, or Ohio State. So against the better teams, he didn't show up. That's the same thing with Trevor Lawrence. I don't think Caleb's any better than Trevor Lawrence. He showed up against the weak teams. Then he gets into these big games against Ohio State, against LSU. He doesn't show up. You watch those Ohio State Clemson playoff games. He wasn't even 50%. He ran for some yards, but we all know that doesn't mean anything. And he threw very little, a couple interceptions, and not a very good quarterback. And that's exactly what you have. So you've got to watch the big games to determine if the quarterback's any good. Hence why we like Daniels, why we like Penix, and why we like Bo Nix. In the big games, they showed up. Now we don't like McCarthy because all he did was hand off. In the big game against Ohio State, didn't do shit. He threw a bunch of 5-yard passes. That's it. I think he had that one touchdown, which was supposed to be, should have been an interception or a fumble. That's it. And that was like a 10-yard pass. All these other little passes it was designed, we run this way, and then the guy comes underneath and you throw it to him for 5 yards. And then the guy goes for 20 because there's nobody around him. That is hardly J.J. McCarthy. You're not going to get that in the pros. And he couldn't outrun Ohio State guys. You tried to run Ohio State, nailed them every time. You are not going to, in the pros, you aren't faster than anybody. And I'm talking about the defensive linemen, you're not faster than. So I don't know. And then they're looking at the 40 times, and they're looking at Drake May can throw the ball 62 yards. Big deal. In shorts with no rush, big freaking deal. Let's go to the Clemson game where they get shut out. And that's what you're going to get. And then, but why they can't understand and comprehend, that's how you judge a quarterback, is beyond me. Or am I that smart that I see things nobody else does? Maybe that's what it is. I pick football looking at the defenses and the quarterbacks. Maybe nobody else figures that out. They're looking at time of possession and turnovers instead. They're looking at the wrong things. Or baseball, you're looking at pitchers' ERAs. It's not that difficult. You can't hit the pitcher. But I did play baseball. I played a couple years of football, but until high school. And then the people got too big, and I valued walking and having a solid back and not having knee trouble. So I got out of that. But anyway, that's really what you look at. That's why I'm so stern in my picks and my predictions. Mahomes, look at Mahomes and look at Lamar. Now, everybody loves Lamar, but who wins the game every time? Mahomes. Why? Who wins, Burrow or Lamar? Burrow. Why? Because he's a quarterback and he throws the ball and he throws the chase. If Lamar was on Cincinnati with Chase, he wouldn't do shit. Chase, you wouldn't even know who he was. That's the difference. Lamar in college sucked. He had a big game against Florida State running, and then they played Clemson. He got shut out, threw 4 picks. That's Lamar. That's why, how do you draft the guy? And he's done nothing in the pros. He runs a little bit. How many playoff games has he won? 1 or maybe 2. And how many Super Bowls has he been to? 0. Oh, yeah. That's a winning with that defense, and you can't get to the Super Bowl because you need a quarterback. Same thing with Dallas. You go down the list, teams that need real players, and they don't have it. So that's the problem with it. Anyway, so buy your gold and silver now at these low prices. I talked to my lifeguard friend yesterday. He's going to go buy some more. It's funny. He said he'd sign up for the class for 25. I says, is 25, is that low? Is that high? He says, I'd pay 25. So it seemed low. It seemed like if I'd have set 50, he'd have went for it. So maybe I'll see if I can get him and his buddies to sign up. But but that's where I'm headed, I think, because I can't get these jobs are ridiculous. I've interviewed for 5 jobs and I didn't get any of them. And I don't know if it's age or what, or they just now you're looking at millennials or yeah, who don't know, they don't like older people, and or the jobs want the younger guy. I don't know what it is. Because my interview was stone cold. It was dead on. They could smell what I was cooking. It's like, are you serious? So I'm like, okay, fine, go fuck off. I'll just teach and wait for my goal to go up, and then I won't need you. Um, so that's where we're at right now. We lost Greg and John. Okay, you're at the track. Enjoy the track. Good luck, Greg and John. Bobby, where the hell are you? Is Bobby still alive? Anybody know? Uh, I don't know. He's like Daria, right? I talk to her every day, and then all of a sudden I lose her for a week, and she was busy and worrying about money and worried about this and that. But what puzzled me is, but why aren't you thinking of me or talking to me? Jenna does every day. Oh, my son's in the hospital. She tells me that my son, they changed hospitals. I need to go. Okay, and there I was, and um, with Daria, I'm starting to get every day. Like I know she's at a barbecue today with the daughter for Easter. Okay, fine. See, she told me that, so I'm not worried. I know she's at a barbecue. I say, have a nice time, happy Easter. Perfect. That's all I want to know. It's why I'm not hearing from you. Because if you love me, you would be talking to me. So am I the first girl at the bar, or am I the hot girl that you dumped the other girl for and went to me? Like, which one am I? Oh, you don't have anybody, so you're with me, but you really don't love me, or no, no, no. You're the one, so I'm going to go with you. So that's really the point. And we all do that. We sometimes, you need somebody, but then that's not the person. And then you find the person and you go to the person. But that's what you should do. You shouldn't just stick with the one, because if the other person's better for you, you should go to the better person. As long as it's comparable. Now, if you meet it and then you meet another it, then you got problems, because then you got to decide, which is kind of where I'm at with the girls. I like them both, so then I'll have to make my determination, but not worried about it. I'll be stoic. But that's what it is. So anyway, I'm glad Daria's not sick. She was mentally ill, but not physically. Jenna keeps sweating for some reason. I think it's a lot that she drinks, and it gets bacteria in your system, and your body then sweats it out. And that's why she sweats a lot, I think. So, because there's no symptoms, but I just think that it's like they've done her liver and her kidneys and they're fine. So I just think when she gets too drunk, or she drinks, she gets the bacteria, she gets the problem, and she sweats, because she doesn't sweat every day. So I guarantee you, when she drinks, she sweats, and when she doesn't drink, she doesn't. But she won't listen to me. I keep telling her it's sugar. Just get off the sugar. Um, anyway, but that's that. We do the same in football or stocks or anything. We see a game, but then we see a better game and we bet more on it. And then you can do the same. I went to this. I tried this restaurant yesterday. It was a barbecue place. Now I always go to my barbecue guy, but wasn't into driving out there. I'll probably go to him Monday or Tuesday. So I go to this barbecue place that I've never been to before, and I'm a little bit leery. I've looked online where, like, the menu, and the ribs are market prices. What the fuck? So I asked the waiter, and he says, well, it's $22 for half slab. What's that? 6 ribs. 6 ribs for $22? You out of your fucking mind? So I said, that's too expensive. Then I looked at the half chicken, and the half chicken was $15. And you get these little baked bean cups or coleslaw, whatever you wanted. They're just tiny servings. And it reminded me of Alabama barbecue. And this is Texas barbecue, but I said, what's Texas? But it's pulled beef. It's not like I'm not getting the ribs. So I think I'm in Alabama, so I get scared anyway because I hate Alabama. So I know what I get at my barbecue place. You get the rib. You get nice big ribs, and you're going to get a big coleslaw, and you're going to get a baked potato or fries and a garlic bread. It's one price. It's all, here we go. $14 for half barbecue chicken. And if I want a combination with 6 ribs and the chicken, it's $22 for the combination. And then I get my big coleslaw and my baked potato or salad or fries. And I'm thinking, do I really want this meal? It seems very expensive. I don't even know if it's regular. I don't, it seems extremely pricey. Then the guy says, well, it's high quality. It's premium beef. And I go, I eat premium beef all the time because I'll go to the good grocery store that I'm getting. If I get my steak or roast or hamburgers, it is premium beef that I'm getting. So don't tell me, I eat it all the time. I'm just trying it because I'm tired and I just don't want to cook. Even though I'd already cooked chicken and I had it for lunch, I cut my chicken breast up, but I said, what the fuck? So then I go back to, So the prices, you want to charge me $22 for a half slab of ribs with a tiny thing of baked beans or coleslaw or whatever. So I get up and leave. Again, she was the okay girl, but as we started talking, I lost my interest. I said, nah, I'm not going to waste. So I went to this hamburger place across the street, and I've eaten there before, and I got chili. It was horrible. And I'm like, what kind of chili is it? It tastes like crap. So at least they didn't charge me for it. I took 2 spoonfuls. I said, this is terrible. So then I got a half-pound hamburger and and it came with fries, which I normally don't like. So I got the salad instead. And that was lunch. And it was like, nah, I'd rather make my own hamburgers. I have a ton of salad here. And that just didn't work out. But I think I was excited because I got my crown put on. And I was like, okay, let's go out and celebrate. Today's Chinese, and I know what I'm getting, and I get General Chow, and it's fine. And that's why I go there, because it's a change of pace. I don't have to cook. The only problem is it's about 25 minutes away, and I got to eat at home. It's a carry-out only. It used to be a restaurant. They closed it down, and now it's carry-out only, which is a pain in the ass. So I got to drive there, get the food, and then drive home before I can eat it. But it's nearer so when I'm at the club swimming, I'm already 5-6 miles out. So it's like 15 minutes instead of a half hour. So it's not that bad if I go from swim. It's on the way. And so that's what I'll get. But, you try the new stuff. So it's like meeting a girl. You try her and she looks pretty, or somewhat attractive, but then you start talking to her and there's no interest. There's no connection. So I felt like getting out of the barbecue place. I did. Even the hamburger place, I probably won't go back. The salad was weak and the burger was okay, but I can get that at a Coney Island for half the price. So what do I need it for? Anyway, or I make my own hamburgers. So, but that's what it is. So as we've talked about money, gold is the hot blonde. So we might get out of money. So you're in stocks. You got to get out of stocks. You're in a CD. You're in a mutual fund. You're in a real estate trust. You're in a bond, and what you realize, and then here comes gold. And so you got to put your money somewhere. So you buy a stock or you buy the real estate trust, like Attack on Wall Street guy. He doesn't know he's got 60 grand. Goes to his guy. Well, listen, why don't we put it in real estate trust? You get 8%. Well, I don't know. Okay. He didn't go for the hot pick, which would have been gold, where he couldn't have lost. And I think that's what the hot blonde is, the gold and silver. Although people don't understand, they go, well, it doesn't move and it goes down and oh, it's manipulated. Oh, really? Yeah, it's price fixed. Oh, then why would I buy it? Is it's going to, well, no, Bricks is going to get rid of the price fixing. And then once people kind of start seeing that, yeah, she is really a hot blonde, and what I'm in is really, yeah, they're not as pretty. The stocks or the bonds or the mutual funds or the real estate trust, they're not as pretty as the gold is. And once you start comparing it to gold and you realize they can't print gold, it's limited and it's beautiful and you're going to make a fortune on it and you have no risk versus Microsoft or any of the Titanic girls, then you start realizing, yeah, she's so much prettier and good to talk to and a good personality, and I can't lose with her. And then once you start understanding that, so really that's what it is. And people don't get gold's the hot girl. And I shake my head going, I don't understand why wouldn't you buy gold? Well, yeah, she's pretty, but she has a boyfriend. So that's really what it is. So again, being stoic means being smart, being calm, realizing what you can and can't do. I can either A, hold on to my money, put it in stocks, put it in the bank, or B, I can get it out of the money and buy gold with it. And most people don't understand gold is the hot blonde. That is the problem. If they understood it like that, they would all be in gold, but they don't. So they sit there in the bank and in Wall Street and girls that are okay, but not the hot blonde. And they don't, you guys understand she's the hot blonde. Most people don't. That's why most people lose all their money because they keep it. And well, I don't have a girlfriend, but she's okay. I'll buy Microsoft. Oh, wait, yeah. Amazon, that's the real pretty girl, isn't it? No, everybody's had Amazon. Everybody's had Microsoft. So no, it's not. It's not really. She's already done, right? She's already. Everybody's had her, but gold, she's limited. She only dates 2 or 3 guys. That's it. And gold is king, and that's what you realize, and that's where you go. Anyway, well, I'm going to have some lunch. I'm going to go swim and go get some Chinese. All right, everybody. Any other questions or comments? I see there's more people on than I see because it says 0, and then I'll end it. And I'll say, oh, there's 22 people on. And I'm like, oh, I didn't see 22 people. So if you want, please feel free to make comments and questions and say hello and find out where Bobby's at. But we will see. So buy your gold and silver. It is the best place to be, and it can't lose. And the price fixing has to end because of the new rules they put in. It's a tier 1 supplier in Basel 3. They have to have the gold, which they don't. So it's almost done. Silver's a little bit longer out. Still running by gold, and it's a lot easier to take gold on a plane and hide it in your, you can put 10 ounces in your pocket, your pants pocket. Far easier, and you can put 100 ounces of silver there. So keep that in mind. Plus the gold will be worth a lot, but you only want to take the gold if you know if you're trying to sell it or give it to your girlfriend or figure out what to do with it. Oh, I can sell it in Switzerland. There's no tax. Okay, we're going to go to Switzerland. But I want bricks dollars for it. I don't want toilet paper for it. So I don't want to sell my gold for toilet paper. So do not profit take and get back into the Titanic when the Titanic's sinking, right? Don't do that. If you can now get the Zimbabwe gold back or the BRICS when they come out with their gold back in a few weeks and sell your gold for profit taking, fine. You're really selling gold for gold, but you don't want to sell gold to get this shit. Now, how do you get back out of this shit? You got to buy the gold, but you're going to pay the premium. You're fucked. So you don't really want to do that. So don't profit take. This is not a stock. There's a premium to it, and you got to find it, and it's very, very limited and very, very hard to find. So we'll see. You watch when Costco runs out of their gold, then you'll realize it's all over. The fat lady has sung, and here goes the price. Get on the elevator and go for the ride. It's going, or this is Mark McGuire said the train's leaving the station, and I said the boat's leaving the dock, which I like mine better because I'm using the Titanic. Anyway, I'll look for Egon articles on Twitter. So it looks like he's on Twitter. So maybe I got to get on Twitter and just get out there because I'm smarter than those guys, but nobody knows it, unfortunately. It's like with my football. I'm one of the top, 3 or 4 handicappers in the world, but not as many people know me. So I got to do a better job of that. But there is called an SEO, which I have to do some research on and get them to promote me and get them, and then start making money teaching and the football too. All right. Have a nice day. Enjoy. It's sunny out. And I'm off to the club. All right. So take care, everybody. Happy Easter for my friends in Europe, Russian, Ukrainians, Romanian. I think they're in Romania too. I think all the Russian satellites, Romania, Bulgaria, maybe even Hungary, because they all go off the Russian clock, Russia and Ukraine. So it's Easter tomorrow there. So it's like that's where I found Women's Day was because of them. I'm hearing, oh, it's Women's Day. What the hell is that? I go, when's Men's Day? There's no Men's Day, just Women's Day. Okay. Anyway, here we have Mother's Day next Sunday, I believe. So happy Mother's Day next Sunday. And that's it, www.teaserking.com. We've got the draft. We will start. We're about a month away from buying the football magazine and figuring out the new coaches, the new quarter. Well, I usually just do the college one. I don't need the pros. The pros I know, so we'll have to look at the college, the new coaches, and then all the quarterbacks or big transfers that went on. Who do we know? I mean, Oregon should be good with Gabriel. What's Washington up to? They lost their coach. They lost their quarterback. It's going to be tough. They're in the Big Ten. UCLA lost their coach. And then USC lost their quarterback, but the backup looks just as good. I mean, that's the thing with the system. The guy throws six touchdowns in a Rose Bowl game, and you're like, so is Caleb that good? Or wait a minute, Joe Blow came in off the street and threw 6 touchdowns. So that's where you go with it. Anyway, have a nice day. www.teaserking.com. Enjoy your Saturday and go barbecue, Chinese, whatever. And I will talk to you tomorrow about this time. All right. Good luck in the games. One more time. St. Louis under 8, the Cubbies. Philly is the 10-star. San Diego over 8.5. Atlanta under 8.5. Those are my 5 picks. Again, St. Louis under, the Cubbies, the Phillies, San Diego over, Atlanta under, with Philly is the 10-star. The rest are 5-star. So if you're betting, you're betting small on the 5 stars and then a little bit bigger on the 10-star. But I hit it yesterday, San Diego, and I hit it the day before, Colorado. So I'm getting there. I'm getting better information. The more stats I get, the more efficient I can be. All right, everybody. Have a good day. Enjoy your Saturday. Enjoy your weekend.